Fredo Bang may have just exposed something Boosie Badass never wanted brought into the open, and Boosie's reaction only made things worse. What appeared on the surface to be a simple social media outburst may actually be the visible tip of something far deeper and more complicated. Because this isn't just about missed calls or disconnected numbers. This goes back years. Blood ties, loyalty, street politics, ongoing conflicts, and a family tension that was never truly put to rest. Now, after Fredo spoke openly in a recent interview, Boosie responded with immediate anger. But the real question worth asking is why those particular words hit him that hard. Because sometimes the sharpest reactions don't come from hearing something false, they come from hearing something true that was never supposed to be said out loud. Fredo explained that at his core, he always wanted Boosie to embrace him the way real family does. The two are connected by blood, but according to Fredo, that genuine closeness was never fully extended to him. He says that in person, Boosie comes across as cool and comfortable, but the moment they go their separate ways, everything shifts. Calls go ignored, messages sit without a response. At one point, he even claimed that Boosie gave him a phone number that simply didn't work. To someone on the outside, that might seem like a minor detail, but inside family dynamics, small, deliberate moves like that reveal far bigger unspoken feelings, and that's exactly what makes this situation worth paying close attention to.
Right? I know y'all had like a weird, it wasn't beef, but it was just weird. I know y'all kind of related, right? And y'all recently bumped into each other? Not recently, but
we bumped into each other a few times.
But I know now y'all are better than before, right?
Yeah, when you want to be.
When you want to be? So Boosie's just like, it just depends on the day?
I guess so, bro. In person, he see me, we speak to each other. What up? What up, cuz? You know what I'm saying? Everything should be good. Then next time, nigga give me their number, I don't holler, I don't talk to him, but then shit, dude call all us on FaceTime, he jump on the phone.
Oh, so for young boy, he jump on the phone, but for you, he don't.
Fredo's frustration starts making a lot more sense once you actually examine the full picture. Boosie isn't just another rapper to him. He's family, a blood relative. Yet despite that connection, Fredo feels like Boosie chose sides in a larger conflict and never truly stood in his corner when it mattered. From Fredo's perspective, it looks like Boosie kept his distance deliberately in order to protect other relationships that served him better. And if that reading is accurate, resentment builds fast. Think about what that actually feels like. Calling your own cousin repeatedly and getting nothing back, then watching that same person pick up for someone else on the first ring without hesitation. That kind of treatment doesn't fade from memory easily. Still, Fredo did acknowledge that some progress has been made. At least now they can communicate. At least in person, there's a baseline of respect present. But years ago, things were significantly worse. There was reportedly a period when Boosie wanted absolutely nothing to do with Fredo Bang in any public capacity. Fredo once posted online that real ones don't interfere with another man's income, regardless of personal feelings toward him. Many people at the time believed that message was aimed directly at Boosie. The tension came to a head around a scheduled show where Fredo, Boosie, and Webby were all expected to appear on the same bill. Then, without clear explanation, Fredo was allegedly pulled from the lineup. According to conversations circulating at the time, promoters informed Fredo that Boosie didn't want him on the show. Fredo reposted the original flyer and publicly expressed his confusion, saying he couldn't understand where the hostility was coming from. In his mind, this was family, so why the deliberate exclusion? Shortly after, a separate flyer surfaced, showing Fredo and Webby booked together on a different show, without Boosie. That only deepened the questions already swirling around the situation. And this is where the story takes a significantly darker turn, because to truly understand why this relationship carries so much tension today, you have to go back several years to a deadly conflict that reportedly fractured these family ties at the root.
In Atlanta, I was about to fly out, he was about to fly out, and I seen him, and I was like, yeah, I gotta holler at him, you feel me?
Of course.
And we just ran it and got some just like clarification on like what it was.
And what was it?
It's just a lot of history between like Baton Rouge and just like people in general.
The history Fredo says he doesn't fully understand may trace back to events that took place long before rap success ever entered the picture. One of the names frequently connected to this story is Ivy Smith. By most accounts, Ivy and Boosie were once extraordinarily close, described by many as brothers, constantly side by side. Ivy was widely regarded as someone deeply respected in the streets during the same period Boosie was establishing himself in music. But as happens far too often, money and opportunity have a way of quietly reshaping even the closest relationships. There were reportedly growing discussions that Ivy felt certain major music opportunities were being blocked or withheld from him. Tension allegedly began building between the two long before any tragedy occurred. Then on April 2, 2005, everything changed. That night, following a club situation, Ivy Smith and others inside a vehicle were ambushed and killed. It was a brutal event that sent shockwaves throughout the entire community. And in the aftermath of tragedies like that, rumors almost always follow. Some people began pointing fingers at Boosie, with claims spreading that he had somehow set Ivy up. Boosie denied those accusations directly, but once allegations of that nature take root, they rarely disappear completely. They linger, they circulate, they get retold. And that matters deeply in this context, because rumors don't just affect the people they're originally about. They get passed down. Younger family members grow up hearing one version of events and build genuine resentment around it, often without ever knowing the full story or having the ability to verify what actually happened. One of the younger names connected to that inherited pain is Lil Yoshi.
But yeah, that's what it was. Trill wanted to sign Ivy, and Boosie ain't want to answer the phone. He was acting like a why stop for him. Then he tried to come to shenanigans and bring a nigga a pint of syrup. Then a fight broke off in the club, and his ass ran out the club like a little hope.
Lil Yoshi emerged as a recognized Baton Rouge rapper, carrying the weight of people he had lost and loved. And as his name began to rise, old tensions reportedly started resurfacing in a new form. What had once been a conflict belonging to an older generation slowly transferred itself to a younger one. Artists began carrying inherited smoke. Shots were taken online. Subliminal messages were posted for the public to decode. Status was questioned. Titles and phrases like "real young" took on symbolic meaning. And in that world, symbolism carries real consequences, because sometimes a single caption inflicts more damage than an entire diss track ever could. Then things escalated further through music itself. Responses came from younger relatives and close affiliates. Diss tracks entered the conversation. Family names were invoked directly. Old wounds that had never fully healed were torn back open in public. One of the most emotionally charged angles involved Ivy Smith Jr., connected to this tension years after losing his father before he was ever old enough to know him. That detail alone speaks to how deep certain scars actually run. This had stopped being just rap beef. It had become something closer to legacy pain. Generational grief being carried forward by people who weren't even present when the original events unfolded. Boosie's side also responded through music, adding more heat to an already volatile situation. And Fredo Bang himself existed within that atmosphere, through collaborations, public appearances, and visual support for one side. In a city where association is everything, none of that goes unnoticed or unremembered. So when Fredo says he genuinely doesn't understand why there's distance between him and Boosie today, not everyone accepts that at face value. Some believe the history answers that question plainly. Others argue that Boosie is unfairly holding on to conflicts that Fredo personally had no hand in creating. That divide in opinion hasn't been resolved, and it still exists today.
Link up and maybe do a record. I know that there might be some politics behind that. There might.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of, you know, like we can't talk about over
Right.
You know, that I stand on, you know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing he done did. It's just, you know, some people
This may be why reconciliation has never fully happened. Some believe Boosie sees Fredo as guilty by association, not because of one direct act, but because of the camp energy and history surrounding him. Meanwhile, Fredo's position seems simple. We family. Why am I paying for wars that weren't mine? That's a powerful argument, because blood ties and street alliances don't always follow the same rules. And when those two worlds collide, somebody always gets pushed out. Right now, Fredo appears to feel that person is him.
Jason called him out there, let's do some music. You know, never respond. Like I got a FaceTime dude on the phone to get him on the phone or some shit, nigga. But hey, man, I'm still happy. I love his music too, man. I would love to work with him one day.
And y'all are related through marriage, right?
I know his grandma gives us and some shit. Everybody all be related. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole lot of cousins and fucking. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying? But I'm a big fan. I grew up on your music, dog. You know what I'm saying? I did a song with one of my idols, Gates. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And you don't have one record with Boosie. Your own cousin.
I got a fake number.
He gave you a fake number?
That never ring.
Shut the fuck up, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that, dog.
My mama didn't give me a number. My mama didn't give me a number. That never ring.
Nah.
If Fredo had said all of this a year or two earlier, maybe Boosie lets it go. Maybe there's no reaction at all. But timing matters in situations like this. Boosie has appeared noticeably more defensive in recent times, whenever his name gets pulled into controversy. So when this interview started gaining traction online, the response came quickly. He posted video reactions, fired back at Fredo directly, and even took aim at the interviewer for asking those questions in the first place. That last part is telling on its own. People don't typically rage over things that carry no real weight to them. And this is where many observers feel Boosie made the situation worse for himself. Rather than addressing the emotional core of what Fredo was actually expressing, the feeling of being rejected by someone he considered family, the response appeared to zero in on smaller details, technicalities, sequence of events, who called who and exactly how a FaceTime conversation was arranged, side points and deflections that circled around the real issue without ever landing on it. But the central question remained completely untouched. Why does family feel distant? Why does the energy shift behind closed doors? Why does someone connected by blood end up feeling more like an outsider than a relative? Those are the questions people were actually waiting to hear answered, not who had the correct phone number, not who technically initiated which call, not who can win the smaller argument on a technicality. The emotional core of this entire situation comes down to one thing: loyalty. Fredo appears to be saying something simple but heavy, that he wanted genuine family love and never truly received it. And if that's honestly how he feels, no amount of angry posts or public corrections can erase that. Because you can win every small detail of an argument and still completely miss what the other person was trying to say.
On a phone call, and nobody never said they was calling you or nothing. You just popped up on there, bro. And that's the truth, man. That's the truth, bro. That's the truth, Fredo, man. Don't. Ain't no truth in what you said, bro. Like, ain't no truth in that, man. You know that, bro.
Now, the internet is split right down the middle. Some people believe Boosie has every right to move however he chooses after years of conflict, loss, and pain that runs deeper than most outsiders will ever fully understand. Others feel he's holding Fredo accountable for history he didn't personally create, punishing someone for circumstances that existed long before Fredo ever had a voice in any of it. But one thing stands out clearly, regardless of which side you fall on. This situation goes far deeper than a single interview. It's about bloodlines, about buried resentment that never got the space to be properly addressed, about wounds that fame, money, and success simply don't have the power to heal on their own. And if those emotions are still this raw after all this time, if one interview can trigger this level of reaction, then it's difficult to believe this story is anywhere close to finished. Some things don't stay buried forever. They find their way back to the surface, one headline at a time.